Oh, so much to break down. One of the longest games in college football history. Georgia versus Georgia Tech. Rivalry feeling a little more spicy than maybe the previous decade or so, Brent. We're Film Don't Lie from UGAsports.com. Brent Rollins, Dayne Young. We're presented by Breda Pest Management, Oconee Gold Barbecue Sauce, and ASW Distillery. You notice I'm rocking the
I did notice the new hat.
today.
I did notice that,
Yeah.
actually. Yes, 100%.
So just rocking that to give them some love here. Look, we're starting tonight with the overtime period for Georgia and Georgia Tech periods. We're going to go through all 8 of these, essentially picking one play from each possession. Obviously, once you get into the 2-point conversion contest, that
That's all
becomes
you
a
got.
very easy selection. Overall, Brent, this is a different kind of game at this point when you're just going tit for tat there. Georgia's never done anything like this, never been in this position, barely had overtime in the Kirby Smart era.
Yeah, it was.
How do you think the Dogs responded?
It was interesting to watch because I had gotten home in time from the high school football game, which, by the way, we won, North Oconee, now in the
North
state
Oconee,
semis.
shout out.
To watch the very end and then overtime, and it was crazy. The timeout part was the most kind of making it way longer than it needed to be. I think they need to mess with how they do the timeouts. But other than that, it's one where I think Kirby talking about it after the game where it's like, hey, he talked as much to his offensive guys when Georgia was playing defense about, hey, what are they running here? What are they doing? What's their look showing? Because of the familiarity with Georgia Tech's offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner. So that was fascinating. And then just the ups and downs of it, because I'm sure there was a certain point, and I'm going to talk about it, where Georgia fans were like, no, there's no way we're winning this. Certain times they were like, oh, we got this. But I think there was one point where it was that something happened where it's like, okay, we're not winning this. And then you did. So it's a lot of fun.
Those timeouts, though, that's Kirby Smarts for that defense. Mike Bobo,
Yes.
you don't get access to the timeouts. That's what I learned. Not an overtime situation.
Call your play, dude.
Carson Beck, you better get them lined up right because it's not
Yes.
yours. Let's begin here. First overtime. This is a touchdown to London Humphreys. Cash Jones goes left. Fake it. Throw behind it.
There's so many great things about this play, primarily of which the ball was caught. Because I think that's going to be can it take that for granted? But you see more and more of this from Georgia with all their backs, with Cash coming sort of out that sort of quick motion to give you a man zone indicator, and then a further motion to give you a man zone indicator, and you see everybody just bumping out, so you're getting a zone look. And the two important parts with what Carson Beck did on this play: one, good pass pro, but two is he put it right on him. Can't lead this guy. There's a deep corner there, covering the third of the field. You just got to put it right on him. Good job of Humphreys going up and making play. The other thing is subtle. And this is one that we actually talked about, I think, with Florida. And watch his pump fake. Because to me, pause it right at the end of his pump fake, right there. He actually separated his non-throwing hand from the ball. Right there. So brought the ball off and separated his hand and created that guy moved. Once the separation occurs, that's when you saw the movement. Because a lot of times QBs do, like we saw in the Florida game where he puts two hands on the ball and just kind of does that action, killing the mic here. But this time he separates, gets that guy to come forward, and then makes a laser throw. And caught it.
I just love all the different actions that we've seen here with. This has mostly been a screened Cash, but now we've seen it with the receiver with the deep cross, and now you have London going. We've seen tight ends.
You got to have everything off this now, and that's what they do.
Now Georgia Tech gets it, needing to score, and this is a slant into C.J. Allen's territory here.
Yeah, there's a couple things with this where you highlighted kind of the one issues in a way. Brinson almost got there. You kind of had a 4-man rush here. Makes a move, splits a guy, just doesn't quite get his hand up, his left hand that's free up in the throwing lane would have been nice. But there's two big things with this. One is, okay, C.J. Allen, this is let's Pause it at the snap. Let's see if we can go back to the snap. You have a 3-by-1 formation, right? So you're playing man, and your two linebackers are basically your free range players, Allen and Munden, I think, or maybe Starks. I can't remember one of those two. But you have two sort of free players. The other's covering the back. Yeah, Starks, because Munden comes when he sees the back staying in the block. Have some situational awareness here. Everybody's to your left. You're not playing. You know, I think he should have. To me, I would have been drifting. And yes, QB, you got to stay there for the QB run. Who knows? But just drift. Maybe get in the throwing lane. That would have been nice to see. But 2-7. I mean, I've said it before. And I hate that. He makes a great effort later, the last overtime. But that's not strong effort in my mind.
This right here is a bit of a pick play here, right? So they're trying to create this alley in here. So that's even more reason for just on the formation, CJ Allen, like slide this way a little bit and at least make it tougher.
Well, and also the thing to remember too is who's the guy covering the point person in the trips? That's Jalen Walker. It's not a DB. It's not a Guerrero. It's not. Walker's on the tight end, so you almost as a corner or as anybody in that sort of vicinity. Hey, I got to know that guy's going to be physical. Yeah. He's not going to sit there and cover, and that he's a linebacker. He's a rusher. He's going to be physical, and you just got to know that that's going to happen. That there's going to be some sort of congestion there to be ready to get around it, ready to fight around it. And I just didn't see much of that there. But okay, now we go second overtime.
Tech ties it up and does a little fake reverse here.
This is just a great call versus your call, because you run I think this is a true run stunt, and pause it as they get there, right at the line of scrimmage. Boom. You've got 7 guys. Every single gap is accounted for. And then the fake makes Jalen Walker hesitate, and then he recovers, and everybody else is just going back the other way. Dan Jackson's got to go in man, because the guy was looking to throw it.
I mean, he can have a free blocker if he'll run up here.
And just phenomenal effort from Ingram Dawkins. And the fact that this ball did what it did, it's just one of those, that's another moment, or probably the first moment where you're like, there's no shot that we're surviving these overtimes if you're a fan. Because just the way the ball bounced there, right to him. I think there was even the other angle, the other TV angle. The way he just moved his arm just a little bit, kept it there versus it bouncing freely everywhere. But heck of an effort by him, because that's a big dude chasing down a small, fast guy.
We talk on this channel a lot about the threat of the QB run, and look, with what Haynes King did in this game in regulation, it wasn't just a threat, it was happening. But Georgia doesn't have this as much, so when you have these handoffs, look at how it freezes right here in front of QB.
Have to stay home.
Opens up everything else over here. You don't have to do that against Georgia most of the time. Now, increasingly, Beck is taking off and running more, but I just think fundamentally that's something Georgia needs, a quarterback that will run, I'm not saying 100 yards like Haynes King did in this game, but more frequently than Georgia has historically done under Kirby Smart. All right.
So
this is Cash on the wheel.
So, all right, now you're down, and second OT, and this is, you get your man indicator again. Look at them following Aaron Smith. They're bouncing it. Hey, you got inner guy, I got the second guy, and you got the third guy. I don't know that Carson Beck necessarily needed to move like he did here in the pocket.
I thought about you because the protection was good. Freeling did a good job.
And it's maybe he saw the instant, maybe he thought he was going to win there, but Freeling just does a heck of a job recovering. And it ended up working out because I think it kept the number 2 there. And they just, it's a bust for them from a covering your man perspective. But this actually, to me, I thought it was one of his better throws that I've seen, because of he had to put touch on the ball. Can't just, can't overthrow him. He had to throw it while moving. Had to actually drop the angle. Watch the angle kind of get out here more so than normal. One of his better throws, better plays.
Cass Jones, one of the most consistent playmakers on the team.
Mr. Reliable. I think that's probably the best. He's Mr. Reliable.
May not be the most explosive. and we'll talk about him some in the offensive video. But he got one rushing attempt. You're like, okay, we see. But this is perfect. That using him in the pass game like this, and
Yep.
he had some really good blocks in this game. We'll show some of those too. All right, so now Georgia has to go for 2 at this point.
Yes, and this is one where so you're getting man in a lot of these situations, and you don't have a pick, you don't have a rub, there's no crossing, there's no mesh, so somebody just has to win. And guess what? Somebody won. That was not good. Yes,
I'm saying that's a win for Tech.
That's a win for Tech. But in terms of your routes,
yeah,
the guy right in front of you. Look at Roderick Robinson, by the way, 240 pounds, all 200 and whatever pounds of him, at least 30, 40. That's a win. Throw that right on him. And the pressure the way he looked and the timing of his looks, he goes off him just a hair, like right there. Dude, that's a win.
Right here,
throw it to him.
Carson already feels this. And
exactly.
Is making other plans.
Yep, but right there, win. And then, by the way, this is a heck of a job of him just giving yourself a chance. It's a 2-point play. And if he's able to not be right there and just has to flick his wrist and gets that to high to the back of the end zone, you might have a chance with Humphreys in the back of the end zone. But still, you had to. I mean, it's a good effort from Beck. But you won there, and if you'd had protection there, I think he just dumps at the rod and completion.
So now Tech.
The back and forth of this. This is like
Mike
Ingram
Hill.
Dawkins just wins instantaneously. This is sort of man-to-man everywhere, and you got 2 under that are sitting there. You see him on the goal line. I think it's Allen and Starks again. And he just whips the tackle. And you're rushing 3. You bring one sort of later as your spy, and you blow up the play. It's
a good thing you did, because this could have been ball game here.
Yes, but I will say, rewatching this, if I'm the QB, where do I look in these situations? I look at who's going to win one-on-one, or I look at my big guy. Like, look at what the tight end was doing there, 85. Like, straight up boxing out Munden. Like, he goes at him and is legit boxing out to get the rebound.
Yeah. Or either that or getting the bounce pass.
Throw that low where he can go down like that. I thought that was where the throw was going to be, but the pressure just wins, and that's in these situations. By the way, haven't seen a run yet.
Right. Right.
Everybody, as I'm just sitting, I'm watching this as it's live. I'm like, okay, somebody's going to try to run the ball.
So Georgia has saved itself again, and Tech gets the ball to begin. This is one of the dramatic parts of this, is that you fail. And Kirby Smart even mentioned this. You fail, and then you have to come right back out and go at it again.
Yes. And this is one where it would be nice to see this more often. Michael Williams with the freedom and to just go own folks on the edge, because he absolutely – Ingram Dawkins did it with almost the same move, and I'm sure there was some communication there. And that's just an instantaneous win, boom, play, shut down. And the thing is, there wasn't anybody that won for them from a route perspective anywhere. It was really covered really well. You're making a contested catch if you're making that play, but this is just instantaneous win, boom, play, done.
This reminded me
more of that, please, if you're Georgia defense.
After Florida State last year, if you remember, Michael, Jalen Walker just running things off of each other. Michael coming here, Jalen coming here. That seemed like Georgia's best combination to harass the passer, and we've seen that a little bit this year. I think injuries have been an issue there, and Ingram Dawkins has helped some too. But just these two guys at the peak of what they can do is probably about as good as Georgia's defense gets in the front.
It's the reason you see them mocked in the top 20 in mock drafts right now.
So now Georgia can go win the game, Brent.
A lot of this, and this was one where, as I'm watching this, I thought he would instantly throw it to Cash here. And this is one, I think this is the holding penalty on Truss. But just instantly get it to him, see if he can win. Because now, especially in a man-to-man situation, you that's all you do. If they're playing man across the board, and maybe they have one free guy, but now you're wide, it's one-on-one. Get it to him now, and do that, but didn't necessarily look at that. The other thing here is, at this point, how much trust does he have in Aaron Smith? Because look right there, Aaron wins.
Aaron wins
on his
comes back.
earlier part.
Well,
Not necessarily there.
He calls for the ball here too.
Yeah,
Got
and
the hand up
like
there.
he's there, but like he at least won initially, like right there in the slot. And I think he's looking at him. Like, is he not looking at him right there? Like, kind of, maybe, I think, but didn't do that because that's a throw it low and just let him go down and catch it. And then lastly, play some backyard ball, dude. Because when you get right here, what do? Pop that thing in the air to love it. Just shot put it. You're not making it in front of 3 guys. So,
Easy to say.
It wouldn't have mattered anyway, or they had to do it again because of the penalty, but
Right.
unsuccessful once again.
It's a Georgia now after the
Failed and then got to go do it again, which, by the way, the whole flipping of the field is also dumb. I think that is very dumb.
The only thing that would make sense to me is if the offense and defense for each of the teams were already on the field at the other, so you could just quickly pan the camera over there, so it's like faster.
Oh, I got you. I see that.
Like have both sets of teams on the field at the same time,
Like a running clock. You got
but
2 minutes to run your
I suppose the only other thing is if there was a fumble to be like run back for the 2 points, but most of the time that'd be the end of the game. That would be the end of the game.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't get that one. But anyway, this is all right. They're showing pressure look. They bring the house, 0 coverage. You got to win, and Bell does it. Like now, I will say, I'm sure there's a lot of cornerback coaches out there and that can explain this to me. I just see it too much that I don't understand it. See how he's tilted at the line? It looks like he's tilted in. Like, I know our faces are right there a little bit, but he's lined up like, hey, I'm going to try to force you to go outside. And invariably when people do that, much like in basketball, it's like, hey, I'm going to make you go left. And I'm going to stand over here and try to make you go left. People find ways to get you leaning one way because you're hesitating. And I see corners consistently, unless they're great corners, consistently get beat when they face and say, hey, I'm going to make you go this way, when one little move and you're off kill. But still, good job here.
Hey, what'd you say earlier? Put the ball right on him, which I know, look, you're 5 yards away. So you kind of have to. But still.
Here. But yes, put it on him.
All right.
And again, catch.
Now Tech has to respond here.
This is another one where I'm going to be. So you go man again, and this time, okay, you run a mesh concept, right? And over the ball route, and the big guy, tight end's the crosser. This is where I'm like, effort. And watch, so I can't explain this. Look at 7 right there in coverage. Watch him hitch up. Oh, like he's. I don't know what the thought process there was, and then it's like, oh, somebody else going to get him. Oh, somebody else is going to get him. Versus like just head down and sprinting as much as you can to get back. That would bother me if I was the coach. But
based on portal,
obviously
moves,
not. But
you might need him more than ever.
Oh, yeah. Definitely need him now because somebody in the thing said Humphrey needs to get more to PT. Well, guess what? Don't think he's there anymore.
Is he on the team?
I don't really know. I don't think Kirby. I think Kirby even said he didn't know earlier.
Or if he knows, he doesn't want to say.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's like that to me. And the tight end did a good job of creating just enough of a rub there on the mesh.
This is an area of Haynes King's game that I'm impressed with as much as anything, and something I've seen develop with him because he is mobile and he is the warrior everyone talked about. He just has composure to hang out there and let a play develop in front of him because you can think that you need to try to sprint here, but
he sees it, knows it's going to be open.
Yep. So then Georgia comes back and they get right in his face with a little Dan Jackson up the gut.
And this is, by the way, awesome by Dan. You actually get 2 free guys here. But to me, also great by Jalen Walker, peeling. He's on the outside, got peel alert on the back, peels off of the back. There's a couple plays in overtime where he and even the last one, does a great job in coverage and playing responsibility. But you bring more than they can block. They actually have 2 guys block 1. Now you got 2 free, and Dan Jackson just play maker, especially in this game.
You said earlier not many running plays. I mean, it's hard to commit to that in this kind of situation. Just the scenario limits what Tech can do, I think, with its offense. It's not a pass first team.
Yep.
I mean, they almost won the game, but obviously we know they did not.
You get your first zone look here. So now here you get your first zone look, and because hey, we're going to get some motion to make sure that, but we get our first zone look, and Beck sees the opening, and I don't think he sees. I bet he's almost not expecting that other safety to kind of be back there, but he's there, sees it. And this is the point, by the way, where I think Georgia fans probably thought we're just doomed. And because it looks like a drop instantaneously, and then they show the replay, and you see that it was tipped and knocked off
Let's be
line,
clear,
hard to catch.
We think this is intended for Arian, but then Dylan Bell tipped it on the way.
Oh yeah, I think that's 1,000,000% intended for Arian. But also, if to me, if that is intended for Arian, I'm lobbing that to the very back of the end zone, and only where he gets it. This is where, in a situation like that, that's where you miss a Colby Young, you miss Rosemy Jackson, who would go up and get those.
You start to see the emotion here of just like how crazy this is. Like, watch Lawson Lucky's reaction, and he's usually a pretty composed guy, but he's like, "Oh, that was it. That was it. Could have been it." So I think the players are feeling the same things that you're saying Georgia fans are feeling. Oh
yeah, that was. I bet many a fan were like, "Crap, we're screwed right there. No shot."
Next up, this is one straight out of freaking Tech's playbook from last year.
All right,
at least in concept, maybe not in formation.
Dayne, question for you. When the offense pulls a guard, do you think you should probably follow him?
That seems like that's the purpose of it.
Usually that's the purpose, right?
Because if that guard is going somewhere, that means that guard is also not somewhere else.
And likely going to where you want the ball to go. So you fake the toss, by the way. I love the action, love the play. Fake the toss, run power read.
But I'm correct that Haynes King ran a touchdown against Georgia with something the fake toss, run it up inside.
Yes. And we've seen multiple variations of this from Tech. And love the call. Love everything about it. Except, boom, follow the guard. Like, just all he has to do is make one cut right there and dive to the goal line. And yes, that guy's coming in, and yes, you're going to get hit. But you're also going to get hit by running into the 2 guys that are standing there waiting on you if you stay outside like you did. And this is, by the way, it's not like he's just playing it live, and it's not his thing. It's not. There's not a comfort level there, I'll say.
I mean, increasingly, it's his thing.
Doing a great job of scrambling. A lot of great plays in this game, scrambling. But right there, just follow the guard, dive to the white line, put the ball in the white line, and boom, you got it.
Well, didn't get it. So then Tech comes back out and is like, "Oh, Carson Beck just ran a QB keeper.
We're going to go funky too.
We're going to go old swinging gate here."
Yeah.
And Georgia has to count out like, "Oh, who's supposed to go where?" But they do a good job.
And did you think this was a penalty?
No.
Oh, that's right. I think he yes. I remember I was rewatching. And I was like, did he do anything there? And then it was the back, like he had his backhand on his hip. But what's amazing about this, worked out. But look right before the snap. Him, Munden, so number 2, and then I think it's Starks ends up being that there.
There's Munden.
I think Starks ends up being in the middle, and there's right before the ball, right as the ball is snapped, they're communicating. Yep. Like they're still like doing their, all their hand signals to who has what. Covered well, played it well, way to be an athlete. Yes, the penalty. And I think once this penalty happened, the whole building knew there was going to be a running play. Like anyone and everyone watching once this happened.
This is sometimes I throw dumb ideas at you, and you tell me as a coach, this may even be a legal formation, what I'm about to say here. They're a version of the old swinging gate where pass eligible and then you just toss it in right there.
You'd have to be very unique. That's almost like Belichick did with the Patriots that one year with the weird formation.
Yeah,
You could do that, but
because I
it would
only
be
say that
interesting to see if
because
they called it.
all these communication issues back here, you just maybe there's a world where you can sneak someone to the line of scrimmage as, or someone to the line of scrimmage and someone off the line of scrimmage because you have to have the proper numbers on each side of that. Just a thought that I
Yep.
had. I don't think Georgia would ever need that. So if Georgia,
It's
ever
not like
ends
the
up
NFL
swinging
where
it,
you have to report eligible and things like that. So you could just, hey, so who's off the line? As long as you got 7 on the line of scrimmage, you're good.
okay. So yes, now 7 overtimes in. Let's think about running the ball.
And by the way, this is exactly how you defend this play. There is no better way to defend this play. Chaz being an absolute just monster and eating the guard's lunch, or extra tight guard. Right there, boom, knock him back, and then your linebacker scrapes and is right there to where because the play can't go inside at this point. The only thing to me that was a little scary, like watching this live, was especially given Georgia's issues recently, was going out the back, kind of the backside runs, because that was an issue in this game, and we saw it against UMass too, where a lot of times you had outside edge defenders creeping into the middle, trying to play what's going on in the middle of the field, and then the flow goes away, and then it comes backside. I thought that was where King might end up here, but no. And then C.J. Allen absolutely just boom.
CJ had some of his best plays of the season in 7th and 8th overtimes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. I think he was the highest graded defender in the game, PFF.
All right, so then Tech in overtime number 8.
Man, and you bring the house again. And by the way, this is phenomenal from Jalen Walker. Look what instant move right there. Doesn't get tripped up. Avoids that receiver. Obviously the receiver's trying to avoid him, but he leans in that little bit, goes forward, doesn't just get knocked off there, and the back end up being wide open. Phenomenal job from Jalen Walker. And then you get the pressure and throw away.
So you get the pressure. This is CJ, but then you also have Dan Jackson coming back again. I love the aggression of let's bring the safety blitz multiple times in overtime periods. It's a short field.
Because you don't need safety. Let's go bring more than that block. Also, by the way, I give him a hard time earlier. Great job here by 7. So he's on the outside receiver, hops in, boom, and then so he's right there at the R, right there. Hops inside, just in case it gets beat, and then fights like crazy to get back into the play. And goes and, the throw is obviously tough because of the pressure, but him being long, just taking care of business there. That helped. That effort helped big time.
One more time of refreshing what I'm working with.
So
here.
Speaking of that, the software thing that we use, I'm getting mad at it because I did put it on the vent last week, and it was doing that constantly.
You see what I've been dealing with. I mean,
I know it's very frustrating.
You make me.
But hey,
that
was just the pause before the great climax, the finish.
Did you fully think, all right, they're going to hand it to Frazier here and just try to get this and be done with this?
Well, yes, but also the beauty of it is they should do more of this in the regular run game. Fake jet, split zone action. Look what it does to the defense. Look how those second level guys just part the Red Sea, and then you got one guy who's now coming in motion, kind of has to hang, and he's like, oh crap, I now got to tackle this guy, and it's way too late. More of that in the regular run game.
Also, with this guy, because there was one point in the game, we'll talk about it when we get to offense and regulation, where we have the Arian Smith reverse, and on the watch along, I started saying that's the fastest guy on the team. But I've had people tell me this is the fastest guy on the team.
Yeah, they're really close. I mean, I think Arian's 100 times got him beat, but with the ball in their hand and pads on, this guy's unreal. I've seen that firsthand in practice too. He's unreal fast. But yes, all sort of dominating blocking, by the way. Wilson, great job double. Tate Ratledge, great job there. All of it. And then just emotion, joy. all the above, and no shot.
I'm not going to be critical of too much, but Lawson, mm, well, Lawson and Truss.
It just happens.
It does, and Georgia won, but
Yes.
Georgia wins in overtime. A lot of overtime.
So, just out of curiosity, do you like the overtime rules?
I like it better than NFL's because I want each offense to have a chance.
I think I bet ultimately it goes to the NFL playoff rules in the college football playoff, where each team gets a possession kind of thing, and then it's after that it's just first, then it's sudden death.
I'm okay with that. I don't hate it. I mean,
In the playoff only. In the regular season, to me, this is perfect because after regulation, 24 total plays,
yeah.
both teams. That's what the goal was. You don't want to have 140 plays in the game.
If anything, to me, maybe you consider backing it back up to the 10. Because it used to be like at 25 or something, right? So you had to like flirt with field goal. If you had a sack, it would take you at a field goal range.
Right.
If you go first and goal at the 10, you're having a maximum of 4 plays per possession. And that feels a little bit more like football. And I've also just sat beside Coach Donner for so many years saying that first and goal at the 10 is like the hardest thing to do.
Right. But you got to
can't
eliminate
go
the
for
kicking
10.
part of it too, because everybody's just going to kick extra points.
And I'm fine with that. You can eliminate it. But overall, like, I don't hate it as much as everyone else does, because what I do hate is in the NFL is if you win the toss and you go down and you score a touchdown, that's that.
Game's over.
Yes, I don't like that. I want each offense to at least have a chance. I mean, look, we're there to watch offensive football for the most part. You want to see defense too, but with that way, when you have a really dramatic defensive stop in this situation, and you get that in the pros too. Yeah, look, you're right. The goal is to have fewer plays to get the game over with, to avoid whatever that was with Texas A&M and LSU. That game prompted this rule change.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I don't hate it. I think it will be tweaked. I think coaches don't like it.
Yeah, coaches don't like anything.
I also think you're going to have more 2-point plays in the arsenal for Georgia going forward.
I mean, learned a lot, saw a lot. Hey, this works, this doesn't work. And by the way, the play that Carson Beck ran, let's go back to that one real quick and finish up with that.
Okay.
So that was
Did I miss one?
Let's see. That was 13. Play 13 on our list.
Yeah.
All right, so let's pop it on the screen. Here's my next play idea for them 2-point play. All right, so boom, fake the toss, take 2 steps forward, stop, and then chuck it out to Rod Rob.
So chuck it then back out here,
and then just go forward a few steps and then pitch it out to him. Those guys out there block. You're throwing it behind the line of scrimmage, you can block. There you go. They ain't stopping the big fella.
And then I've got one more wrinkle for you. Because this is behind the line of scrimmage, you could still potentially even have a backside tight end trying to leak out back here.
Oh, and throw it? Yeah, always.
For the toss over.
I'm not that crazy yet, but yes, I like the idea.
I want a 3 quarterbacks.
Football's fun.
I want
Make
3 quarterbacks on the field at the same time. So that's going to be an off-season thing I throw at you, and we'll discuss that then.
2 should definitely happen more often.
Overall, Georgia survives a really good game that Georgia Tech presented. In other videos, we'll break down Georgia's defense, how they gave up so many yards, and Georgia's offense. I don't think that it was as bad as it seemed, Brent. And there were some individual errors that happened.
You're one player, oftentimes, or one execution thing away from just lights out offensive play.
But shutout in a first half and then requiring 8 overtimes to beat Georgia Tech, I get if people don't feel great about that. But ultimately, you win. You keep your home winning streak alive. You go to the SEC championship. Georgia is in the playoff at this point. And even I looked at just potential seeding here. I think either you get the bye or you get to host a home game.
I think their floor is 8.
Right. That's what I was saying. Because they beat Tennessee.
Because of what else happened.
Yeah. They're not going to fall below Tennessee, and I can't see the committee saying Indiana is a better team than Georgia.
Yep, correct.
Can't see it.
I think their floor is 8.
That's a really good spot to be in for Georgia, other than, if you lost the SEC championship, you have to. That's just a lot of games.
It's 2
You
weeks
play more-
later. I mean, it's still at least
I
2
get
weeks.
it, but you have to play more games than anybody to win a title.
Yes, that's what sucks.
So the
And if
path
you are
is-
8, and then you got to play 1,
and there's not a TCU that you'll be getting along the way here.
9, and then 1. Yeah.
Or if you do, you get it for the first time, and then you
Yeah,
have
the
2
goal
more
should be to
games.
win the SEC championship, be the 2 seed, and then maybe Boise State, by the way, is the 3 seed.
Yeah.
But you're probably not playing them in the quarters.
Let's wrap this so we can get into our
We've got a lot
offensive
of
video here.
things to look at.
Yeah, we do. But we do, before we get out of here, need to thank our friends at ASW Distillery. They are distilled by dogs, and anytime that you buy the Hunker Bourbon or the Hunker Vodka from ASW Distillery, portions of that go to Classic City Collective. Helps Georgia with what it's doing to try to attract players to UGA. So that's a little quick, simple change. Change your spirit buying habits. And get the Hunker Bourbon, Vodka from ASW Distillery. Breda Pest Management is the official pest control of the Georgia Bulldogs. They protect Sanford Stadium, and they can protect your home as well with BredaPest.com. That's how you connect with them. And that Oconee Gold Barbecue Sauce. I got some pulled pork from a spot around here, pretty close, Brent, and I added, I did it like 2 different kinds. So like one day I did, I think I did the white gold on one of them. And then the other, I did more of the like vinegar-based sauces. But I still have to get that new peach one. That is,
that
is
is right there. If I could learn how to put my hand to do that, right there where my thumb is. Yeah, that's the peach
hard to teach camera work in West Virginia. We get it.
Yeah,
Let's get out of here. Thanks to everyone for. Did you see that we're up to 48,000 subscribers on YouTube? Most popular.
Yeah, needs to be 50. Let's go, people.
Let's
hit
get
the
to
sub
50.
button.
Thanks, everybody. If you are watching live, just refresh the page here in about 30 seconds, and we're going to be talking about Georgia's offense and regulation against Georgia Tech. This is Film Don't Lie from UGA Sports.